one account, the Maniac of Gadara, okay, when Jesus went, that maniac. But another book, if I remember right, there were two maniacs.
Matthew has two.
Okay, but the other one has one.
So the other ones have
someone
one.
Make a mistake or?
Yeah, so
I wonder about that.
One possibility is there were two, and the other, this would have been Mark's account, only talked about one. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that Mark only talked about one. Peter's account only talked about one of them. Only had one person talking. It's possible there was a second there, and the guy didn't talk to Jesus, but he got healed still. And Mark's just didn't have that detail that there was a second guy there because he wasn't the person talking. Because Jesus talks to this guy after he's healed, and they have a conversation. He might not have had a conversation with the second one, and so it might not have been important. So yeah, there likely was two. The other possibility is that somebody altered it over time. But that's very unlikely because, again, 1% of 1% is how often that happens. So you're talking like 0.01% chance of it being altered. A very tiny, almost impossible chance that that's an alteration. So yeah, there's a few possibilities. There's been theories tossed about. But yeah, it's true. Matthew includes it too. And I want to say he might even have that elsewhere, a similar case. But like, if you're talking about something happening, you don't necessarily need to include every detail or every individual that was there. So again, these gospels are different perspectives. They're going to include different details. And so, if the other guy got healed, I mean, people were healed everywhere Jesus went. So like, to have two people healed in one place was very insignificant. It was really, quite frankly, very insignificant to Jesus' ministry that one more person got healed. Like, you got thousands of people being healed. You got crowds of thousands, and everybody who touched Jesus was healed. Like, they're not going to go through every single person, and they don't care to. The miracles that were recorded usually for a reason. Not that they were even significant in the sense that, Jesus probably raised a lot more dead people than are recorded. He probably healed a lot more paralytics than were recorded. Sometimes they just summarize. He healed everybody of all sorts of sicknesses because the details aren't important. But when details are included, it's because they were making a theological point, usually. For example, pick up your mat and go home. And then the Pharisees criticize the guy for carrying his mat. And he's like, well, the guy who healed me, I was paralyzed. The guy who healed me told me to pick up my mat. So they're making a theological point that, why on earth are you guys concerned with the guy carrying a mat? Like, he was paralyzed and he got healed. Why aren't you making a big deal about that? And why are you making a big deal about the fact that the guy's carrying a mat? So that's, that's when Jesus says things like, I'm Lord of the Sabbath. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Like, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. The point of including that detail, that detailed testimony of this paralytic being raised wasn't to show you that he raised paralytics, because that was so darn common to his ministry. The point of including those details were to show you the hypocrisy of religious leaders, to set an example of how not to be like these Pharisees. So that's why you get details. So it wouldn't surprise me that two were there and, they didn't include the detail of the second maniac at Gadara. It's a great question, though. It's a great question.